jazz hands.
Yeah.
We've got some Hawaii winter.
Sure, it's freezing here. It's always cold here. I'm okay today. It's just I wasn't working, so I need to exercise now.
Fill my pockets with riches. I have a house in bed. Tidying up the supreme girl just is 3.5 But that tears from my heart is helping me. I ran the check on the show. I saw you were just the best for me. And there's only one to die. Just a long for back. We have taken outside. Just a long for You says I should have some direction. So I take a stand to the truth. Is my success at the first man that me? And let me going nowhere. I miss myself, that's okay. My prized possession is my making my wife. I like it this way, I'm just along for the ride. There's no need to I'm just along for the ride. I'm happy taking it outside. Just along for that. Just along for that. Right now, through the road I'm traveling. My life is like a Sunday fair. But thanks for asking about me anyway. I'll be alright. I like it this way. I'm just along for the ride.
Isn't that gorgeous? They make it.
And there's no need to retire. Just along for the ride. Happy taking it outside. Just along for that. Just along for that. Just along for that. Just along for that. Just along for that.
This is good. It's like everybody's in the and it doesn't have the doorway.
Good morning, everybody.
Welcome to New Thought, and we appreciate our musician who's already been giving us good songs. And if you don't mind introducing yourself for me, please.
I'm Colleen, and I'm excited to be here for the music. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And when we do appreciate her singing, which we already have done, we do the silent Standing ovation. Clapping and standing ovation. My name is Margie, and I want to welcome everyone to New Thoughts. First, we're going to have a reading from Science of Mind with Shana.
Good morning.
No.
Good morning.
The soul is omniscient, omnipotent, and blissful by its own nature. Our prayer is answered before it is uttered. Where do the answers to our prayers come from? When you earnestly desire to attain or accomplish something, where do the forces that assist you on your journey reside? There was a time in my life when I sent my prayers out into the heavens, awaiting an answer. For some reason, I thought some kind of miraculous experience would suddenly occur and reveal the solution I sought. During this time, my prayers were more like a Christmas list that a kid sends to the North Pole. For months on end, I prayed for guidance around creating my business. The answers showed up in a miraculous form, but in a way I didn't expect. The answer was not some lightning bolt from the sky or some hidden message in the burning bush. The answer came in the form of a human person who had already been walking this planet and actually possessed the answer I sought. This person became my mentor. This experience helped me understand that the answer to nearly all of our prayers comes in the form of, or is in some way associated with another person. Yet that answer is directly brought forth from the divine, and it is the divine that dwells within each of us. This means that we too are an answer to someone's prayers. Hence, the importance of sharing our gifts and shining our light. Be open to a miracle, for you are one. So, I'm going to add on my little view on praying and asking God for something. I think asking God for something is pretty arrogant. And so the only prayer that is acceptable to me is, may the right thing happen. Here's the affirmation for the day. I am guided each day and trust the guidance I receive. So let's do it together. I am guided each day and trust the guidance I receive.
Thank you so much, Shana, and I appreciate your adding on. Let's now have a silent moment of prayer and meditation, and then I will ding for us to come back. Again, I say good morning and welcome to New Thought. We are here, we've been here quite a few years, I think 51 or 52 years, and we appreciate everyone being able to come and be with us during this time. What is great about New Thought is that we have different speakers who give us new ideas or old ideas refurbished. And we do not have a preacher, so we get all the best from everywhere that come, and come more than once a lot of times, so we appreciate that. We have been here in this location for about 25 or 30 years, I think, and we welcome everyone that's able to come. Do we have any new people here that have not been here before? We would like to have you introduce yourself, if you wouldn't mind, and tell us where you're from.
My name is Michelle, and I spend the summers in Alaska and much of the rest of the year here down by Kealakekua Bay.
Thank you, Michelle.
Well, in a hard life.
She spends her time in Alaska and in Hawaii, which I think that's often the best of both worlds. Do we have anyone else? Yes.
Well, I'm not really new, because I've been here many years ago. And I was in a very severe accident, and I have been working very hard at healing, and I'm doing quite well.
And your
So
name?
I'm back here because I met this lovely lady, Lynda, and she told me about it. I said, I'm gonna go.
Great. And your name?
I'm Bonnie Walker, or Bonita. They used to call me Bonita, which is Spanish for Bonnie.
Oh.
And it was what I did with my art. I called it Bonita.
Thank you, Bonnie and Bonita with her Spanish art. Anyone else? Oh, Colleen. Oh, great. Our musician.
I'm here. Yeah, I'm really excited. I met Steve at the farmer's market, and I always talk about going to church, and then I end up sleeping in, but I'm excited to wake up and be part of this.
So thank you, Colleen, for waking up on time and coming and sharing your musical talent with us. Now we are going to have a question by Lynda, our speaker, and she will give us the question, and then we're going to pass the mic, and we'd like you to give your name and then your response to that question.
Yes. Good morning. The question for this morning has a lot of variations, but basically it is, what connects you to New Thought? What connects you to New Thought? And so a little variation could be what you love about New Thought, and then if you're new here, it might be an appreciation for what you've experienced so far. And we just ask that folks keep that brief.
Thank you, and I heard this question yesterday, so I already thought about it. And I do enjoy all the people that come and the ideas that they bring with them.
Aloha, good morning, Jamie, community.
Pasha, friends. That's been my best source of friends for over 40 years.
Aloha, Leah. I love the fact that people gather here with open minds and open hearts and stretchability. And that's why I come, for the community, the love, and the friends.
I'm Shana. I like spirituality without religion and community. Yeah.
Me too. Community, communication, and the allure of happiness.
I'm Bonnie, and what you said was just perfect. I love spirituality, but I'm not into so-called Christianity. You know, it's really prevalent in our world these days, how much it's wonderful to have spirituality and with New Thought. And way back when I was here, and I don't recognize any of you, so all those people that I knew, aren't here today unless I look familiar to you, because we've all grown and spent a lot of wonderful journeys. For me, having new thoughts and spirituality got me through a very severe accident. And I'm so happy to be back here today. And I want to appreciate all of you because I feel your presence and it's lovely. Thank you.
My name is Peace Eagle. Freedom.
I'm Colleen. I think inclusive spaces where everyone is welcome and encouraged to come together is really awesome. So I'm happy to be here.
Tony. So community new thought produces a new condition, as we said, weaving a lay of love. We move around a lot. We leave the state, we go other places, we come back, we weave in and out. For me, new thought is like an energetic bridge to this island. When I'm gone and I think of Hawaii, immediately new thought comes in. And it's like a bridge. It's a safe, sanctuary, light-filled bridge. And so it's always in my heart, wherever I am.
Good morning, I'm Nance. You know, just that we can have someone like our speaker today come from the Carolinas and speak to us, and just all of you, all of us, we're all here today.
I'm Palmer. Sense of community, number one, and the opportunity to do service. I really enjoy that. Helps fulfill my life.
Hi, my name's Bill. I kind of focus on kindness and love and appreciation for what we have.
I'm Paul McCutty, and I've got to say everything everybody else said. There's nothing else like this on the planet. My previous spiritual affiliation was also a place where there was nothing else like it on the planet. And hi, Bonnie, do you remember me? Paul McCutty. We used to dance together, right? All right. And yes.
I'm Jan, and I would have to say an interconnectedness and a sense of community, like everybody else is feeling, and service is good too. I went and helped Maria yesterday, painting with the kids on silk. It was wonderful.
Good morning, I'm Reagan, and what connects me to new thought is also old thoughts, old wisdom, new wisdom, and I love the music also.
Let's see, I'm Randy, and I just heard the question, and so for me, it's kind people, happy faces, good spiritual energy, and then just getting my brain going, thinking of other things that help me go down the line and be a better person.
I'm Liza, and same thing. People I met here and have known since 2006 and love, and also the inspiration and the opportunity to share my creativity. Yes. I love that.
You want her creativity.
You haven't met her for her food? OMG.
Hi, I'm Stacy, and I generally don't come here, but I
want to say every time I come, I'm always inspired by everyone's heart connection to each other. And I'm particularly here because Lynda Boozer is a dear friend of mine. I love to see her shine.
Hi, I'm Cindy. Just a sense of community and kindred spirits.
I'm Lorraine, and my friend Tasha brings me back, as well as our leader today, our singer. I met her best friend, Barbara. She gave her glowing reports, so I wanted to come in here.
I'm Candy. I just love coming to a place that reminds me of all of our divinity. And when I see all of your beautiful personalities, I am so refreshed. There's a grounding and there's a freedom that I gain. Thank you.
I'm Terry, and like everyone else, love community and service. And I also love telling the Jehovah's Witness that always come by what my real beliefs are.
I'm Michelle, and I'm drawn by the variety of speakers that you have. My daughter forgot her dog. His name is Arf.
Thank you. And let's have a song if Colleen can help us out. Thank you.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see a bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright pleasant day and the dark say goodnight, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. Hey, babies cry, watch them grow. They're much more than I ever know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Thank you so much for that beautiful music. And I would also like to mention Jamie, who is one of our lay ministers that we have provide for our speakers, since it's the matching her size. The lay is nice and large, just like she is. So that was a little facetious. I hope. Let's do miracles and ordinaries now. If anyone has something that falls into that category, we would like to have you come up to this mic and share it with us. I think we have time for 3 or 4 who would like to do that, because we're going to get another song. I forgot. I shouldn't say that. Anyway, let's do miracles and ordinaries. Oh my, are you, if you want to.
I always have too many. I have too many.
Then I'll share. I guess I'll sit it since we do it. Oh, good, Bonnie. All right, now it's going good.
I could say something. So I have been actually praying for an expanded community. And it's interesting because I keep coming back here, and every week for the last month and a half, somebody from my way ago past shows up, like Bonnie. So it is a miracle. Every single week, it's like somebody else comes and somebody else comes, and like people I haven't seen for 30 or 40 years show up here. So it's pretty amazing. And what's really amazing is that I know that what brings everybody here and what brings me here is spirit. So rock on, spirit.
Bonnie, did you have something to share?
Well, not really, but I'm happy to get up here and say, hello, everyone. And it's the accident was 2007. And it's been a struggle for sure. But it's such a thrill for me to be here today and all the other things I've been able to do with survival. And one of the biggest miracles, not only seeing Polakai, who had much darker hair, and that's how long it's been since I've seen her. And New Thought and the feelings of New Thoughts are a big part of helping me get through a near-death kind of a thing. In fact, I did go away and came back, and I'll never forget that. I was in the hospital, and I was it looked like I was in a coma to the staff, but I know that I left my body, and I asked that I didn't want to have fear to whoever it was. I wasn't speaking, and I came back into my body. And it was such a miracle for me to be able to do that. And I knew that my purpose, I said, when I started to leave my body again, and then, because I was receding again, and I said, okay, I don't want to have fear if it's my turn, but if it's okay, and this isn't speaking from my voice, it's something else. This is such a miracle that I experienced. So I didn't know I was going to say it, but I am going to say it. I said, I know what my purpose is. So if it's okay with you, whoever you was, I'd like to stay. And I feel back in my body. This is 2007. And I never left again. And it's been such a miracle to me. And I was trying to think, well, my purpose that I decided a long time ago is to help restore love to this planet. And I was in bed from that accident for good 2 years. My vet brought shredded paper, brought broken bags of food from the vet to take care of my cats. And all these miracles were happening for me. So I would say, well, what am I supposed to do to help restore love to this planet? And I decided I don't see myself writing a book because I don't know how, but maybe, and I was thinking of all these things I could do. And it finally came to me by accident what my purpose was, and it's been marvelous ever since. And I am so grateful to be alive because I didn't really want to live. That's 5 years before my accident, I tragically lost my daughter. Horribly tragic. She took her life. And I just didn't want to live anymore. However, I couldn't do anything about it for my other children and grandchildren. And this accident, because I almost left, turned me around completely, where I knew I had a purpose and I wanted to live. And it's been a miracle, and I have seen the fruits of all of that so many times. And I'm just so grateful. And for the lessons I learned through all those experiences of almost not being here. So that's a big miracle. And all of you people that think the way I was able to expand my awareness is why I think this happened for me. So I thank you for listening, and I thank the universe and love.
And someone else, I guess I can share. Since you don't get to hear me enough, I get to talk more. Sorry about that. When you get older, you need a sense of humor. That's a prerequisite. So just put that on your to-do list. Sense of humor. So my daughter, son-in-law, and I just moved into our house, which I had been moaning and groaning and coming and being so distraught. And will this ever happen? And it happened. So it's really, that's a blessing and a miracle and an ordinary, because we have a roof over our heads and we get to see the ocean in the morning. And then I get to complain too. I'm going to complain because my daughter did such a wonderful thing. She and her husband decided to buy, it's a rescue dog, a husky mix, and it happens to be 3 months old right now. And we have a new couch and a new house and a puppy that doesn't understand outside and inside and all that kind of thing. But he's not too bad, and he's got beautiful blue eyes, and he looks at you and says, well, if you can feed me right now and pet me and take care of me, and I just carry me around all day. So, but we're making it. He's doing much better than I thought, so I'm not going to complain too much. We only have right now, so it's a miracle. I made it today. And now let's have another song, if Colleen wouldn't mind.
Take me higher.
Thank you so much. I hope I didn't turn this off. Then you wouldn't have to hear me anymore. But I need to introduce our speakers. I need to be able to get the information out there. We're going to have Lynda Boozer give our talk. She started exploring the deep truth of joy in 2017. And culminating with that, she went on 3 of the pilgrimages on Camino de Santiago in Spain, which we've already had somebody describe her experience, Shelley Pearson. So it's going to be good to have another person that I think everybody has a unique time when they do make that pilgrimage. Lynda began her career path in healthcare, and then she gradually expanded this more traditional role into the work she's doing now, which is spiritual mentoring, wellness coaching, and energy healing for individuals, couples, and families. And along the way, Lynda spent decades working internationally and locally teaching peacemaking and conflict resolution, if I can say those words. She does it, I'm having trouble saying it. And working on projects to support community amidst her cultural diversity, which is so necessary now. In 2000, Lynda returned to school and completed her doctorate of ministry degree in creation spirituality, birthing her new holistic approach in wellness. Her work on joy has changed her practice as she now supports folks in assessing their own joy and supports them in sustaining it. She makes her home in Charlotte, North Carolina, where she lives in a rural lakeside community with her dog, Rusty. And talking with her earlier in the week, she was giving me an explanation of joy, and I said, like I mentioned in our what gives us joy as we come to be here on Sunday morning at 10 o'clock, putting in a little plug there, was these new ideas that I get. And this is what she told me, and she had to send it to me because I wasn't going to remember it. Lynda sees joy as an energetic force in the body, and beyond that can be built into the heart, stabilized within the heart, and shared with delight. So that's what we're going to get to hear.
I think I use this podium as a little bit of a safety net, so bear with me. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's always great to be at New Thought, and I didn't answer my question about what I love about New Thought, and I'd like to share that with you all now, which is I really appreciate the solidity and the commitment here. And there's something about that solid presence, like Tony said, every time she comes back to the island, there's a bridge that she knows is here. There's something in that commitment, holding the love that's generated here, that really means the world to me. So thank you all. I also didn't share my miracle, and now it turns out there are 2. But the first is a couple of weeks ago. I was here a year ago and was meant to speak at New Thought, and I got word that my mom had passed away and had to leave the island suddenly, was away for a couple of weeks, was able to come back and speak then at New Thought, which you guys accommodated me for beautifully. So the other day I was thinking about this, the anniversary of my mom's death, and I was thinking, the 25th, because she died a couple of days before the coroner actually gave her a date. Anyway, today is the anniversary of my mom's death. And here's the really cool part. I wrote my sister-in-law telling her this, and I said, would you please send me a copy of Mom's program from her service? Now, my mom was one of the most powerhouses, organized folks, and she had her entire funeral organized. I kid thee not. We had hymns, we had scripture, we knew who was meant to speak. We knew the great-grandchildren and what they were supposed to, we had the whole thing. I give her a lot of credit for that because I learned a lot about where my mother was when she passed, where her spirit was. Her psalm, she chose one scripture and the minister said, not many people choose this one. It was, make a joyful noise unto the Lord. And so here I am today speaking on joy on the anniversary of my mom's death. It feels really, really beautiful. Thank you all. So the other miracle was Colleen a minute ago, which she didn't know. But the song, What a Wonderful World, was my Camino song in 2018. And that song landed in my heart and traveled the Camino with me. So I love the way the power of things weave together. Okay, so joy is this thing that I've fallen in love with over the last 5 years, and I almost don't want to call it joy sometimes, because joy has gotten such cliche meanings that what I love and what I believe and what I hold in my heart that joy is sometimes gets sidetracked. And if you've noticed, joy made it to mainstream big time this year, if not previously. So, for example, Amazon delivers joy. What can I say?
Sometimes they do.
Yeah, there you go.
Free shipping.
Right. So I'm driving down the road, headed to South Carolina from North Carolina one day, and over my shoulder, I see the word joy in great big writing on some mural on the side of a building. Well, I'm headed somewhere. Finally, I find my way back. This is the Gallo distribution plant, wine distribution, if you don't remember Gallo. Gallo pours joy. Needless to say, those aren't the joys I'm talking about. And since then, the Charlotte, North Carolina buses, some of them now say, live joyfully. Love that one. Why not publish that everywhere? The one that has really captured my heart was a bumper sticker since I've been to Hawaii, and it says, cultivate infectious joy. That's the joy I'm talking about. I'm talking about joy that can be built from within our hearts, landed there, stabilized there as best we can, and shared literally infectiously. Like, how do we do that? What is that? And that's actually what took me on this journey of joy. And some of you have heard my story. Bless your hearts. I got on this joy gig, and you guys hung your wagon on it. And so many of you have heard my story. But I was having a tough time in 2017 and happened upon the book of Joy. The Book of Joy was written by a man named Doug Abrams in collaboration with Bishop Desmond Tutu, now deceased, and the Dalai Lama. Amazing, amazing book. And it was the first time I had ever really sat with the possibility that joy could land within us and be lived from there and not be something out here that brought me joy. You know, like I used to say, it's like a butterfly, you know, you'd see it, it's like, oh, and then it would be gone. Or I'd be riding my bicycle down a hill going, woo, and then the hill would be gone and off I'd go and the joy would be gone. And that's a very different kind of joy. And that's, for some reason, the first time I knew it was in this book, the Book of Joy. And these two exquisite human beings. And if you ever want to hang out with the Book of Joy, they're crypt notes. Open the book, look at the photographs of the gaze between those two beloved men, and you will know the essence of joy very quickly. It's extraordinary. So I wanted to understand joy, and I wanted to find it in my body. I wanted to explore how in the world can I hang on to it. And I wanted to know, how can I live life with joy rooted inside of me and live fully everything else? Pain, suffering, grief, sadness, love, all the things, and hold on to this other thing that held it all in what I now call this beautiful web of love. And so that's what I went after when I did my first Camino, which was 2018. In 2018. And I came away from that first Camino in 2018 with this idea that joy is Holy Communion. Holy Communion. And there were the Camino, let me tell you a little bit about the Camino, just so you know what that is, if you don't. The Camino is actually a network of trails all over Europe that ultimately connect in Santiago, Spain. Santiago means St. James, and the Cathedral of St. James is in Santiago, Spain. And people travel from all over the world doing pilgrimage walks on this trail system. So a pilgrimage technically is ways people take walks in life. Like our daily walk is a walk. On these trails, you're walking to find deeper meaning within your soul, to connect to God. People do it for many, many different reasons. And that's a pilgrimage. And I began to think about these pilgrimage routes all over the planet as these ley lines of love, because they've been walked, they've been held with the intention of love and connectedness, and there they are. So on this first Camino, the definition of joy that I walked away with was joy is Holy Communion, holy connectedness, holy, which that was the question this morning, and how many people said it's the community, it's the connections, it's this thing that brings us together. How do we find that in our hearts? And it's not just connection to other humans, it's connection everywhere we look out here. It's connection to our own soul's longing. It's, in my mind, deep connection. And that was my first Camino. My second Camino I did in 2019 because I had found joy. I had found it in my heart, but I couldn't hang on to it. It just kept slipping away. And maybe you all know that one. You know? So that time I walked a much shorter Camino. I called it Joy with Rebar. What is the thing? What's the backbone of joy? What keeps us in our bodies with joy? What lets us stay in that connected place and hold it? So this morning when I talked about the commitment at New Thought, that to me is part of your rebar. The commitment holds the love. The commitment, the showing up, those kinds of things. To me, that's rebar. And that's what I walked 2017 for. After 2017, I actually didn't know that I would walk another Camino. I thought I had joy where I wanted joy to be. I did find another definition of joy, though, that I want to share with you, because this one has taken it a whole nother level for me. This one came from Andrew Harvey. Andrew Harvey, some of you may know, is a modern day Christian mystic, an amazing man with quite a past, playful past. He's quite a character, and I love him dearly. So he says, joy is the essence of the essence of the essence of God. Joy is the essence of the essence of the essence of God. I say the essence of the essence of the essence of love. What I love about that definition is there's a potentiation in it that joy also is to me. It's connectedness to our core source, all of that, and that same in you all. But simultaneously, it can be built. It can be built up. It can be potentiated. And it's potentiated in such a way that it just infectiously bubbles out of us. And that's what I love about it, because then it becomes a force. Then it becomes a power. Then it becomes something that can change the world, literally. And then I really, really get excited. So fast forward to this year. This is kind of what I've got in my backpack, if you will. And I don't know that I'm going to walk another Camino. On my first Camino, those of you who heard about my 2018 walk, My very first week, I met these three gentlemen from Spain. They were all married folk. They were doing their thing. And they sort of took me in, and we walked together for this week. And I felt so held and so loved. And there was one gentleman in particular, Miguel, and he spoke no English. I spoke almost no Spanish. And we walked this week together, not in silence, but without words, and had the most powerful connection. And it was stunning. And it just held me, supported me, had my back, walked along beside me, loved me, saw me, all of the things. And when he left, they left, I thought, who in the world was that man to me? And I got, he was your Jesus. I didn't know what that meant. Who's my Jesus? You know, I didn't have that kind of relationship with Jesus. I have a lot of feelings about Christ. I didn't really have this thing about Jesus, but I got it then. That on earth, there is actually, at least now for me, a presence that walks beside me, has me, cares for me, loves me, all of it. And many times we are that for one another, which is pretty awesome as well. When we finished that Camino in 2018, Miguel and his crew had long left. I was walking, and he said to me, send me a letter. Let me know. This is Jesus, right? Let me know you got there safely. And so sure enough, I sent the letter. 4 years passed. I don't know if he got the letter. I know nothing. All I know is that I would love to thank him. And the only way I know to do that would be to actually pick this town on the map and land in it and knock on doors until I found him, which I was pretty sure I could find him. Instead, in my email box arrives an email from Miguel. And this was last spring. And they had been trying to find me, they said. They didn't know how to find me, but they were going back to the Camino, and would I like to join them? Needless to say, I would like to join them. So I did. That was this year. Now, I thought that trip would be, oh, let me celebrate the joy that's come in. Let me plant it there. Let me share it. All of the above. Well, then things started happening. In the fall, my back went out, and it was so bad, I thought, oh my gosh, I can't carry a backpack. What am I going to do? So long story short, all the physical therapy said, Lynda, you are not walking on your right leg. You've got to walk on your right leg. This became a big deal because in my work, the right is assertiveness. It's the masculine. I don't know if you guys think like that, but the left side being more the feminine, the right side being more the masculine. So anyway, this whole sense of standing strong, rebar, standing strong, asserting oneself, all of that. So that showed up. And then my mom passed away in January. And that was also a very big deal. And so I knew now that I would be walking to be with my friends. I would be walking to celebrate the joy I had learned. But I would also be walking as a process of grieving the loss of my mother. And that became a really big deal. And it also became a really big deal because my mother's and my relationship was really complex. There was a lot of fear in me still at 67 years old of her, even when she died. And at the same time, I was equally terrified that she wasn't on the planet anymore. And so I'm sitting here going, oh, yeah, and there's all this stuff going on. And it was a very complicated relationship. And so that is what led me to this most recent 2023 Camino. So I want to give you a little background. I want to give you some vignettes from the Camino, and then I'll tell you a little bit about walking in grief, okay? So vignette, the day before I left, I had a pretty long day because flights don't leave the U.S. for such things until late that evening to fly overnight. And I was busy creating this laminated paper that would say, this is my third Camino for joy. Happy to share. Happy to hear about yours. And I was going to laminate that and pin it to my backpack because I wanted to have these really connecting conversations with people. That's what I did that day. Well, by day 2, I knew that that was so not necessary. It never went on my backpack. That's how easily it was to connect with people. It just happened. So the very first thing that happens is I land in a hostel in Saint Jean Pied de Port, which is the start of the Francaise Camino. And I picked this Airbnb, I don't know, not Airbnb, booking.com. I'm on booking.com, I pick out a hostel out of the blue, have never heard of this happening, but the day I was leaving with 16 other Camino pilgrims leaving at the same time, we have a leaving circle. No one has ever told me they landed on a leaving circle in their hostel. I landed on a leaving circle with 16 people from all over the world, and the song that was playing was Sweet Surrender. May we surrender to this walk. May we surrender. And on we went, and into this 5-week walk is what it took. Into this walk came some of the most beautiful connecting people I could ever dream of. And that's really common. It's not like I had a special Camino experience. Everyone talks of the connections on this trail. In mine, I'll give you just a few examples. There were 2, and I love young people, so there were 2 father-daughter teams walking the Camino that I met. One was a Spanish man and his 18-year-old daughter. And somewhere along the line, because I was being more conscious about connecting, a group of us was gathered, and I said to this young 18-year-old, I said, "What has this pilgrimage come to be about for you?" And she looked at me. Her father was quitting smoking. She was so excited. She said, when I started this Camino, I was doing it for my dad. I really wanted him to stop smoking. I wanted to come with him. She said, and now I found myself. She said, I'm doing it for me, and he's part of that. But I've learned to find it in myself. The other father-daughter team were Tim and Eva from St. Louis, and Eva had just graduated from college, starting out with her first career, and her dad was Tim. And they just talk about something that builds joy. People's stories, they're connecting to people in their heartfelt stories brings me an enormous amount of joy. Well, Tim would talk about how they were walking the Camino, and she was an adult. She was his adult daughter, and everything they did, every place they spent the night, everywhere they stopped, everywhere they went forward, they were doing it as partners. What a dad, right? Eva, here's her story. So one day I'm walking with Eva and Tim because it's this huge hill, and I didn't want to walk it by myself, and I wanted to spend some time with them. And I said, can we do this together? Well, Tim and Eva and I are walking along, and we end up behind 6 horses behind. There were horses on the trail being led up by a guide, people on the horses, the whole bit. And I did not want to climb that mountain behind those horses. And so I said to Eva, you know what? I'm going to run ahead. I'm going to go really fast and go ahead, and I'm going to get ahead of these horses because this is not how I want to walk up this hill. And it was a long hill. Here's what Eva said. I'm going to wait on Dad. I'm going to wait on Dad. Now, to me, that's just what they were together. Many young people on that trail kind of run off and become young people and leave whoever the grown-up is behind. Not Eva and not Tim. Then there, of course, were my Spanish men friends, and there were now 5 in their group. And we walked together, and again, they just held me and loved me, and we were together about 5 to 7 days. And I got to thank Miguel for what he had meant to me as my Jesus. And then, of course, there are the people on the trail who aren't walking. So people on the trail who aren't walking might be, one day we're walking along, and here's this elderly man coming out with baking sheets of hot buttered garlic bread. Hot buttered. Can you imagine a hot day walking along and someone offers you, oh my gosh, that was so good. That sweet man the musicians who would just sort of sit on the side of the trail and be playing as you walked by. Or the day I walked by, I was grieving the loss because I also lost my dog in November, right before I lost my mom in January. And that day I decided to grieve for my dog. Here's a man playing a water drum, and he's selling his book about walking the Camino with his dog. And there we were. So there's those kind of stories. And then lastly, to share an on the trail story, there's this one albergue that's just extraordinary. I had been there a year before. I came back because it meant, I'd been there in 2018. I came back because it meant so much to me. And there we were, a group of about 12 people from all over the world. And we're playing a game called Solarium. If you ever have a chance to look up the game Solarium, it's almost worth it. I think it's worth investing in. They're images that you pick out of a deck of cards to describe answers to questions. And so here the questions were, what is your spirituality like on the trail? And you picked an image. And what is spirituality to you? So when do you have a chance to sit around a table with people from all over the world having this kind of conversation? But here's the really cool part. So that we have that conversation, and the next day as we all came downstairs, the breakfast is laid out. And there are these personal handwritten notes to every one of us based on something we shared the night before and how it touched the person who was wishing us well, from a volunteer. These people had to have been up an extra hour to 2 hours that night. And we finished at like 9 p.m. writing each one of us a handwritten letter. Those are the special moments. And I tell you those stories because I want to hold with you this idea of this web of connectivity, this web of love, this possibility that in all of life we are held in this powerful thing that is joy, ultimately, because it's potentiated, because it's love. And then I can do things like grieve the loss of my mom. So that was a big piece. I would be walking during the day, having this community surrounding me, filling it as best I could, and walking along. And those of you who saw Maria Mann's talk the other week, she talked about the grief in our lower bellies. So I would walk in the morning and something that had hurt me, maybe, from my mom would come into my head. And then I would ultimately grieve for the child who had that hurt. By the afternoon, and I don't know that I would have been as aware of this had I not had such a long, arduous walk that I could hardly pick up my feet. You know, I would be like, oh my God, what has happened? And I would realize that sitting in my heart was my grief for my mom. So I want to say it a little differently. I think that by being honest with my truth of my own journey with my mother, and being real with it and grieving it as it was, I opened amazing space to actually love her exactly as she was and to grieve that loss. Now, one other thing came out of that. The other thing that came out of that is one day, and I found this in my journal, I'd forgotten it, but I was saying goodbye to a dear friend on the trail. She was going to go ahead, and I knew I was holding back to meet some friends. And I wrote in my journal, I love her so much. And then I wrote, I think I love her more than I would have before I was living this grief with my mom. Something was happening in my own joy, in my own potentiation, because of this grieving journey with my mother and my opening to my love of her exactly as she was. And in that, I was feeling my love for others expanded. And I thought that was just pretty touching. So as I went on, different things would happen, but that sort of combination, and I was in a lot of physical pain, talking to my body, digging deeply into whatever stories were holding my pain, my physical pain, which I ultimately believe is emotional pain. And I was really exploring that. And so I just kept walking, but held by this joyful matrix that was so present and so there. And that is why I call it grounded joy. That is why I call it grounded joy, is because Andrew Harvey has a term he calls engoldenment. This idea of lighting up every cell in our being with light. What is that? So as you go down into your body, down into your feet on the ground, waking everything up to the light, waking it all up, and that joy could infuse through us. I want to give you one more aspect of joy before I close, and just so excited about it. And it had to do with why I asked the question at New Thought that I asked today. What connects you here? And joy is connectedness. So I'm playing with a concept called joy is political action. And I love it. I love it. If you don't want to talk about politics, talk about joy as political action. And then you start to think, okay, I can do this. I can do this. And we need to talk about politics. We need to, because politics, I looked it up the other day because I didn't understand the word. I hadn't thought about it much. But politics at its core, at its goodness, is how we make decisions as a community, what we value. I would even say how we create as community. And so at that's core, and what if joy was a part of that? How much investment would we have if we felt this kind of connectedness? And how much would things matter if we did? So I want to tell you about that relative to the Camino. So as the Camino ended, two things happened. Remember me talking about the elusive butterfly of joy? I looked up one day and there were 4 butterflies fluttering, and I'm thinking about my old thinking of joy as elusive. And then I realized I literally can see a string of connection from me to those butterflies. And literally something had happened in terms of joy and connectivity. Like, whoa, this isn't the same kind of connection to those butterflies that I used to have. I had to share that because I love it. But the real one I wanted to tell you is this. On my last day walking the Camino, I'm headed into town. This particular day, I'm walking in by myself, which I was fine with. And there are these school kids. So at the end of the Camino, there are these groups of students that are led, and these are like 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, and they walk the last 100 kilometers into, which is 66 point blah, blah miles. Anyway, they walk the last trek into Santiago. And so I get up behind them and I'm thinking, oh, I don't want to go into Santiago and behind all these kids, and what am I don't want to do this. So I go racing around them too. Race around the kids, get to Santiago. I'm looking at this cathedral. The cathedral's its own experience. There are all kind of people mingling around, and in come the kids. Now here's what they do. They come in a conga line. They're all holding hands. They come weaving in, singing. Someone has supported them in this process, and they are absolutely delightful. And then they come in and they turn to, one will turn to the, I don't know how they had choreographed this, but anyway, next thing I know, they're turning to each other doing a partner dance. They're doing kind of a little bit of a skip to my loo kind of thing. The tears at this point are rolling down my face. I was so deeply moved by these kids and the leadership that helped them do this and whatever was in these kids. And I thought to myself, whoa, what if all kids had an opportunity like this to experience that kind of connection, that kind of beauty, that kind of love in this place? And that's when I began to think about something I now call joy as orb, O-R-B, orb. So I told you about joy as ley lines on the pilgrimage routes. That's what I call pathways. So this is my latest theory I call pathways and orbs. What if in community we actually live and engage this connectivity? What if we actually recognize each one of us in this huge matrix that we then build and potentiate light, joy? What if that kind of like new thought becomes this orb, like that group of kids, you know, and what power might that orb have in the world? How might what you guys have here build into something, you know, that makes a difference right here and beyond? And I actually believe that's true, folks. I actually believe that's what's possible out here in the world, and that we can actually print it. Like, I have to say this, so I'm going to say it. Tony, when I heard you the other day read the mission of New Thought, and I'm going to paraphrase, but I think it was to nurture the spiritual growth of each person who comes to New Thought. What if you have a bigger mission? What if you're actually living a bigger mission already? That just by nature of the community that you already are, you are doing way more than nurturing individual spiritual growth. You're doing something right here that impacts every one of us. And not only that, I believe it's bigger even. Like it goes beyond here. And what if these orbs were consciously created all over the place? So that's what I'm calling politics of joy. That, in fact, and I did this in my community. I couldn't believe it, and I swear it was because I walked that last walked that last Camino. In my community, we have a really precious thing, like you guys have here, and everything's precious, but we have a precious community with development encroaching and all of it, and it takes going to city council, and it takes fighting, and it takes it all. So when I got home from the Camino this year, we have a fruit tree. One fruit tree that grows wild on the property. And that fruit tree produces pear apples, which is an ancient fruit of some sort, some kind of hybrid thing. But anyway, this year I decided I made pear apple cobbler for the entire community. We've got about 50 people, and had everyone show up and do exactly what I asked you all this morning. What is it that you love about Eagle Lake Fishing Club? What do you love about our community? And then at Christmas, and this really isn't tooting my horn, it's really saying, oh my God, something happened in me and look what I created from it. Which is, at Christmas, I had lunch with a friend and I said to myself, she said to me, how is Eagle Lake? That's the name of where I live. I said, oh my gosh, Phyllis, it just keeps getting better every year. And I thought about that. I was like, whoa, it's true. I feel that way about it. Some of that's me. Some of that's Eagle Lake. It doesn't really matter. So at Christmas, I wrote a letter to my community and I shared this story. I said, folks, I think we keep getting better every year, and it's because of you all. Now, that's not about me doing anything special. I don't mean it that way. But it is about joyous political action. It's about what happens when we remind one another of who we are and what we love, and what can we do then with joy that's way bigger than, oh gosh, I feel joyful today. It's like, whoa, I'm a force of transformation. And we're a force of transformation. And what might that be? All right, guys, that's it. I've told you everything I know about joy now. Really appreciate you all.
Thank you so much. I do have a better appreciation for when I was speaking with you and I was very confused. A lot of times I do that. I think a lot of you are at my, well, you may not be quite my age yet, but saw Welcome Back, Kotter, and John Travolta used to walk around saying, I'm so confused. So I was a little confused about joy, and I feel like you really were able to give us good information on it. I think we have a few minutes if anyone would have any questions to ask Lynda. I do appreciate what you're expressing about us here and politics. I've been so discouraged, and it's a good way to look at it. I will say that yesterday and this morning, and Pasha knows, and that the rest of the board knows, because what? You want me to facilitate? I can't do that. I don't know how. And so then I've had people along the several years say, no, Marjorie, you can't. And I appreciate the fact that Peace Eagle was the first person, when I did my first facilitation, he said, you did a good job, Marjorie. So I can tell myself yesterday and this morning, I'm going, do I have to do this? I don't like it. Why do they make me do this? and then I start thinking, okay, all right, let me see Joy. I don't understand Joy. I'm not sure. I heard these words put together, what she said. And so I started thinking that way. And I think, I don't think I looked like I was upset, did I? Yay! There's Joy. You see what it can do. So that was what influenced me, and then was able to get to the whole group. I see what you're saying. So that was a little illustration, if anybody wanted to know what that was. Yes.
Tell us where your community is, a little bit more about your community.
Oh, yes, I'd be happy to. So I live on 200 acres of land with a little 30-acre lake in the middle of it, 30 acres of the 200. And there are about 24 homes, about 50 people live in this little community that was developed in the 40s in North Carolina called the Eagle Lake Fishing Club. And it's been obviously going on close to now 100 years, won't be long. And it's extraordinary in that it's a corporation, and we're responsible for our roads, our trash. So we're kind of like a little miniature town at some level. And over the years, the people who are showing up, how it's forming itself, who's showing up, what we care about, and the level at which we care about keeping ourselves connected has become quite stunning. Yeah, it's just a very special place.
How long have you lived there?
I moved there, I first bought that land there in 93. So a long time, 30 years.
That is, and you have seen a progression in its ability to be together and function
absolutely
as a group.
Yeah,
that's exciting to know about. Does anyone else have a question? And I appreciate all the information about the Camino too that you gave us. If we could have some music for our offertory, we will be passing our koa bowl. And this helps us continue also.
You got.
I googled the El Camino, and I found out El Camino means the way. And thanks for sharing so much about it. I kind of want to try it out. But here's a song I found. All my friends that treat me so well, you know I'm headed out that mission there. Gonna wash my soul, trying to get it clean, headed down that water road, called the El Camino. Been a prince, you know I've been a post by a wire fence and a murder clothes. I'm leaving all out, love and see. I'm
called the El Camino. Headed down that border road called the El Camino. Yeah, my heart's grown sick, I got a shepherd's crook. As I'm walking sick and I'm headed on. My heart's grown blue, I've done wrong by you, and I don't know what to do, but I'm moving. One and one is two, and two and two is four. I'm walking back on that kitchen floor with orange juice and the sun that shines. Leaving you behind. You know I'm headed down that border road called the El Camino. All my friends that I love the most, you know I'm headed out to that other coast. Gonna wash my soul, gonna get it clean. You know I'm headed down that border road called the El Camino.
That sure fit right in. Thank you for the joy in our community. Now we're going to have announcements. If you have anything that you would like to tell us about.
Just that I'm here, and if anyone is interested in a consultation or energy practice, I do a lot of work helping folks with that connection to joy and finding it within themselves and how to hold on to it, how to share it. And you can see me afterwards if you like.
Do you have a website or?
I do. It's www.lindaboozer.com, and it's Lynda, although I think you can find it if you spell Lynda wrong.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate that. We are not going to go eat lunch, and it's not my fault. So I just want to let everybody know that we aren't going to be able to do that today, but we do that a lot of times. I won't say every single Sunday. We do have Sunday services every Sunday at 10 a.m. We have a live stream video. And if you are doing live stream video and would like to come and be a part of our community, we would appreciate that also. We have free childcare if you do get in touch with us by Friday, and then we can arrange that. The next 3 Sundays we have on the 28th, Osman Aladnani, who states, transform yourself, transform the world, unveiling the multifaceted nature of humanity. And the music is by Yusungur Family Band Retroactive. On the 4th of February, and at the end of the 28th, we do have our monthly potluck Sunday. So we let you eat here even if you didn't bring something. And we do share our fruits and vegetables also. On the 4th of February, Kumu Kila Ching is going to do and music, E Allah, E Ola, E Allah, E Awake, Live Your Journey. And the 11th of February, Randall Rupar, Ageless Body and Timeless Mind, Practical Tools for Personal Wellness. Music is by Phyllis Chapel. We do have Janan Wong, who is our Tai Chi master. He is here every Monday at 4:30 for Tai Chi, and it is and Qigong, and it's $15. Our monthly events are the potluck and produce giveaway, and then the crystal bowl meditation is on the second Sunday, which is going to be February 11th. today we're having a special workshop, improv basics. And I think what she's going to help us do is to learn how to do some improvisation. And the workshop is being given by Kelly Simmelsberger. That's $25 to this afternoon at 2, and it will last until 4. On the 28th is a meditation class by our speaker, Osman, and that's from 1:30 to 2:30, and it is free. On Saturday, the 10th, Jen Lightly will be doing a mythic journey through sacred stories. The Huntress is what she's stating. It goes from 2 to 4 p.m. and it's $20 suggested donation. On the 11th is Sunday's concert, Phyllis Chapel, Songs of Love and Inspiration. Donations suggested to be $15, and that's from 2 to 3. We would like to invite everyone to be a member of New Thought. You can, we're going to have the last Sunday of February is a recognition of new members. It's our yearly service for the church. And we have a guest book over here if you would like to sign, and there are forms to sign up to be a member. And you can get on the mailing list or get to our website, which is newthoughtcenterofhawaii.com. Does anyone else have any other announcements? Or
I have a question.
okay, yes, Tony.
The question is, does it cost anything to become a member?
No, thank you, Tony. Tony asked, does it cost anything? No, it does not cost anything to be a member or continue to be a member. Thank you. And Pasha?
So Ramona asked me to make this announcement about, if you have eyes on the back of your heads, you might have noticed the keyboards over there. If you don't, you can turn around and look at them now. So one of them was donated by LT Smooth for our sale that we've had actually 2 sales, one before Christmas and one for New Year's. But nobody bought the keyboard yet, and we know that LT wants it to be a blessing to somebody. And also, in the meantime, we were trying to make room in our closet, and there was this old keyboard that had been occupying space there for, I don't know, 5 or 10 years. Well, it turns out that one that we thought was kind of useless was able to be repaired for $45. And it's maybe a little, I don't know if it's better, but it's slightly bigger. So if anyone here has been looking for a keyboard, dreaming of a keyboard, here they are. And I think the larger one that comes with the case and the stand, we're selling for $200, and the smaller one for $150. So Ramona will be here, I think, to demonstrate and talk to you about that in a little while, if you're interested. Also, I wanted to show you this. One of our younger presenters said, well, you guys should have this. This is a lot of young people like to do their donations this way. You should make it easy for everybody to donate in whatever way they want. So here's a QR code that connects to the New Thought PayPal account. It's right here on this table there. Thank you.
Thank you, Pasha. I appreciate that. And if we would all stand and join hands, and we will sing our closing song.
Yeah. No, let's play it. Okay.
Yeah. Give us like a kind of a
Yeah, you call me through the evening day. Holy now, on your honey road. Hey, Hawaii, aloha, hey, Hawaii, 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 hey, holy, holy, my